Trustbashers is a search-action, explore-action, open-platform Metroidvania with a late-night 90s vibe about being a little dog you does a silly dance. And it's the best Game Boy Color game of 2021. The Trustbashers are a pair of school-aged monster hunters who are investigating the recent increase in cryptid sightings. When Jerry is kidnapped, it's up to Terry to save him from the evil Sasquatch, who has unleashed a horde of cryptids upon the town. The first thing you'll notice about this game as you enter the school grounds is that Terry books it like a madman. He runs as fast as an actual rat terrier. His speed can be hard to control at times, but it honestly has a great feel. Whacking your bat against the wall in midair will launch Terry at max speed backwards, and you can carry this momentum when you hit the ground. The first movement ability you're likely to find is the backflip, a command jump that gives you some extra height when you switch directions and jump, which is pretty tough to pull off on a D-pad. It's a great first impression for movement abilities. As far as I know, a command jump like this is unique among Metroidvanias. It's a much better implementation of Wario Land's high jump, and it's a natural progression of command inputs from Symphony of the Night. Unfortunately, the other upgrades aren't as interesting. You get up to 4 mid-air jumps with an upgrade later that makes them deal damage, and a Ninja Gaiden wall jump. They serve the game well and they're fun enough on their own, but the backflip set my expectations too high for the rest of the upgrades. Going up and staying up is the primary challenge of the game, a challenge that's exacerbated by fall damage. It's a bizarre choice for a 2D platformer, especially a Metroidvania, but it's usually more funny than it is punishing. The featureless map means it's up to you to remember important waypoints like landmarks and shops. If you're willing to go out of your way to explore, there are a variety of things to find. Cryptid documents to give you a little info on the enemies you're fighting, secret binky zones that let you chill out and do your silly dance, and secret weapons with unique qualities. The open nature of the map and redundancy of movement upgrades mean you can go almost anywhere at any time, as long as you know how to get there. This freedom, along with the aforementioned featureless map, means every playthrough is a little different. You can fight bosses in different orders, get to late game upgrades first, or get powerful weapons as soon as you start the game. On the flip side, this can have the unfortunate side effect of potentially keeping you from finding any of the more interesting weapons until late in the game. Fortunately, none of them are necessary. In fact, a lot of the upgrades are unnecessary. You can beat the game with nothing but the baseball bat and default flashlight, and an endgame area seems to hit that it's possible to reach the final area with at most a couple movement abilities. Your starting weapon is the humble baseball bat, the holy blade of adolescence, and elegantly simple. The combat is simple too, but it takes a bit of skill to play effectively. Every normal enemy needs to be revealed by your flashlight before they're vulnerable, some of them repeatedly, and most weapons require a lot of commitment to wield. The bat and its counterpart, the crowbar, take a second to charge before they can deal full damage, and their swings come with a lot of end lag. Every weapon is unique. Some have better range, some have versatility, some have coverage, but they're all well balanced. There's a surprising amount of enemy variety, and all of them come with documents hidden throughout the world that gives each of them a bit of lore, or a place in the world. Some will charge at you, some will sneak up on you, some will keep their distance and pelt you with projectiles, and some will just try to fuck with you. The school starts out slow, but as you progress, more and more enemies will— Jesus Christ! will come out from the woodwork, and their mechanics pile up quickly. The simple looks of each enemy belie the artistry on display. Some enemies are literally just pitch-black shapes with goofy faces, but there's a lot of creativity to them. Designs vary from kinda cute, to kinda weird, to actually pretty creepy. My personal favorites are the killer clowns, the only monster capable of parrying your attacks, and they follow it up with a nasty sucker punch. All the shopkeep NPCs are really cute, and they all have unique sprites. Talking with them will get you a bit of advice for your journey. Animations are detailed and smooth with some pretty cool looking key poses during attacks and backflips. The music is solid too, there's some real bangers, but most of the music is slow and dreary, which really goes well with the nighttime vibe. Every track is made by OndiDev and Famitracker, which gives it an authentic retro feel. The story for this game can't really be spoiled, but Trustbashers is full of secrets. Secret paths, secret areas, secret weapons, even a secret boss. This is the point where I'm going to talk about the biggest secrets, so if you want to find them for yourself, this is your spoiler warning. Located way in the back of the world map, tucked away all by itself, is a well locked behind a door whose key is only found after beating the 5 main bosses. Deep under that well is a stray portal to hell, through which Sasquatch summoned every monster you fought up to this point. Hordes and hordes of enemies await you, and if you talk to the right Binky, he'll give you some sound advice. Don't bother fighting, just run. At the end of the gauntlet is a save point and a vending machine where you can refill your health, an obvious indicator of a boss fight around the corner. When you enter the next room, it turns out it's just an amalgamation, a boss you've seen 3 or 4 of already. Psych, it's the fucking Death Wizard, the ultimate boss of Tresbashers. It takes painful swipes with its scythe as its ever-multiplying turrets launch a barrage of bullets. This guy took me like 30 tries. It's by far the hardest enemy in the game and the most fun boss. My only real complaint is that killing it didn't feel satisfying. Most bosses so far have visual indicators of their health. Dragowari loses its heads, Amalgamation drops chunks of its dermis, and Alien Gator's segments become cracked and broken. Death Wizard's turrets break and reappear as it takes damage, but when it dies, it just disappears. The hardest, coolest boss basically ends with a wet fart. All is forgiven in the next room, however. As your reward, you get Death Wizard's Scythe, appropriately titled the Ultimate Weapon. It swings like the crowbar or bat depending on whether you're airborne, and it deals more damage than either without needing to charge. This is why you were supposed to run through the gauntlet before. You get to reap what you sowed and make effective, immediate use of your new toy. The Scythe is an excellent weapon. It's a lot of fun to tear through hallways full of enemies on your way back out of the well, and I made it last all the way to Sasquatch's front door. But Sasquatch goes down without much of a fight. After Death Wizard, Sasquatch is kind of a chump, and he's even easier because of how strong the Scythe is. I expected a phase 2, but he just goes straight down. His projectiles are slow, and even if his melee attacks hit you, they deal pitiful damage, and they launch you right back up towards his face. Maybe it's my own fault for doing them in this order, but fighting Sasquatch first would leave even less to use the Scythe on. Enemies in the game don't respawn. When it gets bashed, it stays bashed. So you can't even go back through areas you've already cleared just to play with it. The empty world does kind of add to the vibe though. After Squatch gets bashed, Terry frees Jerry and they have a nice little chat, where Jerry complains he missed all the action. Terry reassures him that at least he'll be in the sequel. If you got all the bestiary entries, this is where the cast credits play. After beating the game, you unlock Jerry mode. He has a lower gravity and jump height, but more importantly, he does a different, silly dance. Overall, Tresbashers is excellent. For a one-guy game, it's brimming with stuff to find, and the gameplay is extremely tight. If you're interested, buy the game on Steam. The developer is hard at work on 3 other games. Wonky Works, which seems to be turning into a run-and-gun type platformer. Tresbashers 2, which features 4-player co-op. Yes, Jerry is in it. And the parry I desperately wished for. And coming extremely soon, possibly out already, is Peter Shorts, another Metroidvania, about being Peter Shorts. That's it, just buy the game, okay? Bye.